All right. Okay. Garrett, how are things going out in, I assume, Jersey that you're at this week?
We're good. We got I think mid 80s and sun all week, so be outside, maybe do some cardio and golfing. How about
There we
yourself?
go. Yeah, it's that time of year. It's 80, it's sunny. Football season's here. We're real excited for fall.
For sure.
Uh, we'll give everyone a minute or two to jump in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. But for those who are already here, the goal for today, as you guys probably already know, is to talk through the job reviews, how to set them up, how to utilize them on a monthly basis, and what kind of information everyone has at their fingertips, right? From the PMs to collaboration with the office personnel, and just kind of best practices along the way. So, like I said, we'll give everyone another minute just to jump in here, and we'll go ahead and get started. But
Sounds great.
yeah, my name is Denver Sperry. I head up the implementation team here at ProNovos. I've been here for about 2 years now, and on the line with us, we also have Garrett. You want to introduce
Yeah.
yourself here, Garrett?
Yeah, I'm the client success engineer and I've been on board for about 3 years now, and uh it's been a great journey so far, just seeing where we've gone with the product and what's on the roadmap. So exciting times ahead for sure.
Yes, for sure. All right. I think
So
we'll
yeah,
go ahead and get started here. Let's jump right to it. We got about 15, 20 minutes or so. If anyone has questions along the way, drop them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to answer them, or if you want to save them to the end, whatever works for everyone.
yeah, either or is good. So I guess as we kick this off, this is our third power session, and like Denver said, we'll be discussing the job reviews. So Denver, let's just say, I get my team together once a month for reviews. How is this going to assist me? Where do I even start here?
So to answer your first question, how it's going to help is the big draw to this one of the newer features we've added to the system, being the job reviews, is to hopefully gain some efficiencies to allow collaboration between the project managers and the office personnel alike, so that way there's full visibility into the jobs. There is open communication, and just making life easier for everyone. That way, all the information is in front of everyone. That way, we're not looking at this information, just at the end of the job, or only when jobs are going bad. We can see the good, we can see the bad, month over month, and really, just like I said, keep the visibility into how each of our jobs are progressing. All right. So one of the more important pieces to kind of get started with the project review is making sure it's set up from the go, right? So where you want to go, given you have access here, would be under the administrator settings. And if we scroll on down to the review settings, we can designate when we want to start our job reviews, when they're due on, so what day of the month, and then how often we want these job reviews to occur, right? So we can pick, like I said, our start date. We can pick weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. It seems most people are using the monthly option, but if you do want to set up these reviews more frequently than monthly, you can set it up at that weekly or bi-weekly level. Okay. Couple other pieces to make note of in the settings: the schedule. As we talk through the schedule tab of the job review, you'll be able to put in your crew roles. So how many apprentices are on the jobs, how many foremen, journeymen, etc. You can create your own list here, edit them, delete them if you need to, but you'll be able to build your crew out here, so that way when it comes to the scheduling component of it, you'll have all the different trades that you need in here. Okay. And then the custom field section would just be anything else that we want to see within the job review. So in this case, we've said when our inspection dates are, if there's any safety issues, and we can designate what type of field. So this is just a date. this is a free form text box, but you can add in more of these, and you can pick what type of field we want the different personnel to fill out here. Okay. So setting this up first will allow that schedule to generate on that weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. And then from there, we can dive into the jobs a couple different ways, and I'll show how to get to the job reviews from both the WIP and just by clicking into the job. But Garrett, I know that from my experience, it's been, a lot of monthly reviews on this. Have you seen the same thing with some of the clients that you've worked with?
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say the bi-weekly is maybe few and far between. So once a month seems to be the common trend, and yeah, I think just the earlier we can get ahead of this and identify trends and maybe spots we're losing money, and common areas that might be of concern earlier on in the project, the better to right the ship. So if we can assist in that, this would be phenomenal.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. So we'll start here with how to access the job review. One place you can start is just by clicking into one of the jobs in your list. So if we just click on the first job in our list, we would then be directed to the overview page where you would see the project review. In this case, is due in 28 days. So we could even get a head start on these job reviews if we so choose. It's just telling us that it's due within 28 days. Now, the other place, or the other way that you can access the job review functionality within ProNovos would actually be from the WIP report. So under financials, if we go into the WIP, that'll bring us here. From there, if we scroll on down, if you don't have this column, this upcoming project review column in the WIP, you can always add it by going into edit columns, and you can find that upcoming project review. It's alphabetical, so just scroll on down. You'll find it down here, and you can drag it into the WIP. What that allows you to do is it'll very quickly tell you which jobs have completed job reviews currently, and then which ones might still need some work. So you can also access it by just clicking on that incomplete text, and it'll actually open up the job review right from the WIP report. So you don't have to necessarily click into every single job and get to it. You can access it from the WIP by just clicking into that complete or incomplete status here.
Yeah, I know that was a common request, is seeing if it's incomplete or complete and not having to scramble around and find it. So
yes,
implement it right on the WIP is super valuable.
Yes. Yeah. So just make sure, once again, if you have it as your column, or if you don't, add it here. And then if you have your custom view saved, just make sure you save that view. That way it's there every single time. Okay. So as we click into the job review here, we can get to the different categories that we've designated out of the box. So we've got the financials, forecast, change orders, billing, schedule, and custom, which we talked a little bit about before. But as the goal of this, and as we see it, is that the PMs or the PMs plus, the upper management would be able to sit down, go through each of these categories together, or, hey, project manager, go through these different categories. And then once it's finished, we can then review this as a team to go through and make sure that everything is in order for each one of our jobs. So as we click into financials, it would take us to the page that kind of gives us an overview of the job. So what our contract, budget, cost, billings, we would kind of see all this at a high level, and there's a lot of drill down capability too. So if I wanted to get to the projected final cost, I can click in here. If I want to update my projections for the WIP purposes, you can click into here. But the goal here is being able to check all of these I reviewed boxes. It kind of gives you a to-do list of making sure that everything is accounted for. Is our build to date numbers correct for this month? Or costs all in there? If anything looks off, if you will, or if there's anything to make note of, each one of these different sections, you can click on the little the plus sign here, and then you can add any notes that you want to put in here. So this becomes super valuable for, like I said, that open line of communication, that visibility into the project. But this allows the team to input these notes and make sure that nothing gets skipped over. So if I wanted to make any note here, I can. If not, all is good. I can then check off the I reviewed and move on to our next section, which in this case would be our issues or concerns. So once again, anything that you want to put in here that's going to, add any additional days, have any cost impact, we can put those different line items here. So if we said, bad weather, it was going to cost us an extra 2 days. Maybe there's not so much cost impact for this particular case, but you can type in your descriptions, your additional information, and hit the plus sign. In this case, we'll add a 0, and we will add $1 then. We will add our cost impact in there, and we can save those items in there. And then if we wanted to make any other notes, we can click into the plus sign here. Once again, notes for that particular section. And then once we have it ready to go, we can then hit I reviewed and move on to our next section. Okay, so the financials, I know this may look like maybe financial statements or general ledger information. It's just the high level kind of look at the job. Right. As we go through these different sections, the next one being the project forecast. Once again, high level numbers. Here's our projected cost amount. Here's our cost date. Does everything look in order? So in this case, we've got a projected final cost of 3.1. We have costs of 3.5. So maybe in this case, I would want to put in a note that, cost forecast haven't been updated, right? We can put those kind of notes in there, save them, and then they'll be there for visibility purposes. Okay. So even though maybe there's an action item here, maybe we don't want to review that because maybe we want to make the updates, come back in, and then once it's been corrected, we can then check this off as I reviewed. Right. So what that will allow you to do is scroll through here, or maybe once again, summary, here's all the costs, budget, job cost, commitments, here's our projected final cost. Give you a quick summary of all of the cost types on the job. Different ERPs like to call them different things, cost classes, cost categories, cost types even. So this would just be that level. If you want to get into the more detailed version of the forecast, you can always click into the cost forecast up here at the top. And then that will take you right to our new cost forecast sheet where we can go line by line and make all of our adjustments here. And if this is our new number that we want to push back to the WIP, or just have it updated for our own purposes, we can make those updates. And then next time you would open up that job review, all of your numbers here would be updated. Okay. So we can say, all right, maybe for this purpose, costs I reviewed. The next section would be the cost. Now, if you're doing weekly, if you're doing bi-weekly, if you're doing monthly reviews, the costs in this section would only be since the last review that you have completed. So in this case, we're doing monthly reviews. So this would be our last cost, or our costs since last month. So we'd be able to see all of the individual costs here, and we can make our notes. We can hit I reviewed, but that's how that will work. If you do weekly or bi-weekly, it would show you the costs since the last week or since the last 2 weeks. The forecast adjustments. Now this integrates directly with that cost forecast sheet. So if you're making all your adjustments to each individual cost code and cost type, you'll see all those individual adjustments, any notes, missed it on the estimate, missing information. Hey, it cost us $7,600. So once again, this is since our last review. All of these adjustments will be in here for visibility purposes. So, we've put in quite a few adjustments. So I'll scroll on down past these, but you would be able to see each and every item, who entered it, how much it was for, when it was made, and if there was a reason tagged along with it, you would be able to see those reasons as well. Okay. We can get to the bottom, notes, I reviewed it. We'll move on to our next section here. Okay. So the next section being change orders. This will give us direct visibility into, all the change orders that have been processed through the accounting system, what the original contract and budget were, what our original profit margin and our new profit margin is going to be based on just change orders in the system. Okay. Total change orders, once again, you have the drill down capability to see the detail behind all of our approved, pending, rejected change orders in the system. So if there's any notes, if not, we'll continue the same trend of clicking the I reviewed, and then the new change orders, same sort of idea. Since the last review, here's all the individual change orders that we've processed through the system and are now showing within ProNovos. Okay. So you get nice, good report that shows total contract, total budget impact since our last job review. If there were any notes, if not, I reviewed it. Move on to our next section. So the billing sheet here would give us the total bill to date contract amount. In this case, hey, we didn't have a billing yet posted in September. So it is a nice call out to just say, hey, we don't have a billing put into the system just yet. If we need to say, you know, accounting hasn't posted September's invoice, we can put those notes in there and keep that for our own record. Okay, maybe there's a reason we're not billing in September just yet. Obviously, we're a little ahead on our job review here, but we can just make our notes and move on to our next section. Okay, over under billing, whether we're, you know, what that dollar amount is, what's the reason for it? Hey, we're $1 million under billed. There's probably a good reason that we're under billed at this point in the job. So we can, you know, maybe it's just invoice hasn't been posted, but we can put those notes in there and move through our job review here. So outstanding invoices, average days to pay, very insightful when looking at the total billings and all your outstanding receivables as well. So if we know we're getting paid on average 60 days, we can see that if we invoice this here, we would probably be expecting payment sometime at the end of the month for this particular invoice. So you'd be able to manage that projected payment date, and you can save it that way. For those that look at the cash flow analysis, you would be able to project out all of those invoices and when you guys look to collect for each individual invoice on any particular project. Okay, so as we move on to the schedule tab, now this is where the settings that we initially talked about come into play. So we'll have our anticipated start date, anticipated finish date, schedule on a % complete basis. Now that's just counting the number of weeks and how many weeks we have left. But what you'll be able to also look at is based on the cost forecast, what our budgeted labor rate is, what our actual labor rate is, and how many hours we're going to have remaining on this project. Okay, so you'll get a nice quick snapshot of, you know, what our per hour rate is, how many hours we have remaining is what that will factor into as we scroll through here, summary of our labor hours, but then get into our burn rate. So if we have 1,200 hours remaining and we have 62 weeks remaining on the job, we have a burn rate of 19 hours. In this case, we had no hours last week, but we can get a good snapshot of how many hours we are looking to have each week. And this is where we can plug in the number of crew members at each one of those roles, and then the number of hours per week for those roles. Okay, so we can see that if we were to plug in, you know, we have one apprentice out there for 8 hours a week, we can start to get a subtotal to see where our 19 hours on a weekly burn rate is compared to how many hours we project out for each one of our crew members. Okay, so as we review all of these options, then the last tab here is the custom. And once again, based on the settings that we set up, we want to list out any safety issues and then any inspection dates that we want to make note of for our custom section of the job review. Okay, so Garrett, I think one of the cool things about the job review is not only obviously talking through this and having all this information in front of you, but being able to store this information to ProNovos and look back at some of those older job reviews, maybe last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, being able to see all the notes and everything that we've accomplished so far on the job, kind of at your fingertips.
Yeah, looks very valuable, and it's, starts an important conversation. I like how we look at the history there by just drilling down. But I know we're 4 or 5 minutes over here on time, but we will hang around for a minute or two, and floor is open for questions, and just let us know if you need anything. And if not, we thank you for your time today. I know everyone's busy, but thanks for jumping on for 20 minutes.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. And like I said, we'll stick around for a couple if you guys have questions. If you want to hang out for a little bit and see what the questions are. If not, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us for today. And if you do, just throw them in the chat or in the Q&A section, and then we can make sure we answer those for everybody. Okay, so first question, how does a project year earn more revenue than the contract value? So it's a good question. In this particular instance, I think the reason for this would be that based on our projected final cost and cost to date, in this scenario, we have it where the costs are more than the projected final cost. So it's calculating a higher percentage, percent complete. Therefore, it might show a higher earned revenue value on this particular job. So in this case, we just want to make sure that our project forecast is up to date in this specific scenario. But good question. Good catch.
Yeah, thanks for this question, Scott. Well, if we don't have anything else, we can wrap it up here.
Yep. So yeah, thanks for you guys joining today. And Garrett, do you know when our next power session is scheduled for? I know we're doing these, I think, once a month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we should be right around the same time in October, but we will get some information sent out, I'd say within the next week.
Yep.
So we look forward to seeing you guys on the next call, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep, bye.
All right, bye.